Well, good morning, everybody. Hello. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room. Right now, we are on the road. Well, not driving. We're parked. Miss Frito is here. Y'all want to say good morning to her? Do you guys want to say good morning? Hello, Frito. They want to say good morning to you. Yes. We can't barely see you for the ironing table. Let me point this down. There she is. There you go, sweet girl. Yeah. There you go. Great to see everybody. Let me tip this down just a little bit so you can get a better look at Miss Frito. Here's your Dave biscuit. There you go. That's a good girl. She's been so good since we've been here. I love it. There you go. There's your stick. All right. We'll see you later. Oh my goodness. She just has me trained. She just cannot wait for this to start so that she can hello. Good morning. Oh, stop.
Oh, we're not in Vietnam.
No, we're not in Vietnam. Bright sunny day here in Kinder, Louisiana. And we are at the Coshada Casino in the Red Shoes RV Resort. And if you've never stayed here, this is a great RV park. We've been here coming here for years and years. So lots of big spaces, nice little yard so that you've got room for your little dog to go out. And lots of good mornings, Keith. What happened to my coffee? Oh, here it is. You drank it? You did not drink it. Yeah. And got my cup here from Glory. She made these. So I've got my ear pods in. Somebody said that the sound was better with the ear pods, so I'm wearing those. I hope you guys can hear just fine. I got lots of sun glare. The sun just came up over the horizon right behind the camera. So we've got some cool sunlight stuff going on here this morning. So I'm going to call the weekend a wash, which is good. We ate at a couple of different restaurants in the casino. So the food there, they got a new one called, thank you, Sandra, for letting me know about the sound. So they've got a good one in there now called Noodles. So it's all Asian food. You can get all kinds of sushi and whatever you want. And the food was great. And Keith and I really enjoyed ourselves. We had a super good time. We go home today. So we have about a 6-hour drive. No, maybe 7. So, but it's a good drive. So it's all good. You know, we got to go through Houston, but once we get through that, we'll be fine. All right. So I did get quite a bit of stitching done this weekend. This is a virtual stitching retreat. And when we have a stitching retreat, we always have a kitchen. Hi, Maureen. We always have a kitchen. So wander over there. I'm sure there's more hot coffee and some goodies, and hit the thumbs up button on your way in if you wouldn't mind. That'd be great. And say hello to everybody in there. Thank you for the safe travels. Yeah, I tried to get back to some of y'all on email this weekend. Yesterday, what I do is the ones that need a response, I'll hit a flag, and then I'll go back on Sundays and do the flag. I have a big sun thing. I need my husband to pull that shade down a little bit when he's done that one right there. Oh, thank you, babe. That one's getting me. Better. The lighting and everything. Thank you so much. That's good. I love it. Awesome. Isn't he sweet? No. Yes. Okie doke. Monkey bread. Awesome, Scotty dog. Uh-oh. Got to clean up on all 6. Towels right to your right. Just behind you. Your other right. There you go. No. Yeah. He about grabbed a show towel. Y'all know how that is. Oh, goodness. Hey, don't use one. No. It's a towel I got from Carolyn up at Jelly Rolls to Go. I'll show you guys. It's I think it's an Anita Good design. Isn't that pretty? And it matches the coach. How nice. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful. So nice. You know, this is just one of those simple towels with the black from probably from Walmart. And you can make it really look nice. It's beautiful. I suspect, I don't know if she used sticky back or if she probably used a water soluble I don't know if this has been washed. I can't remember, but boy, she did a beautiful job. Look at this. Look at the back of that. Isn't that gorgeous?
Don't use it to dry up anything else.
Well, not to dry up that mess you made with that yellow stuff. No. Uh-huh. So I can't tell. I need to send her an email and ask her what she used behind it because it's just beautiful. So, did I win the big Valentine jackpot? No, Margie, but Keith tried. He stayed there longer than me. I always came home at a decent hour. They started calling names at 7 and quit at 11. So, Keith quit at 8. We came home early. Yeah, we didn't stay there a whole lot. So, but yeah, she did a beautiful job. Not a single pucker in this thing. It's gorgeous. She's really, really good at what she does. So great to see everybody. You have a shelf full of dish towels, Betsy. I know. We all have them. Tons of blanks that we want to make and never know what to do. And you get kind of frozen. And I say just, I get frozen on choosing a design. And then I get frozen on what thread colors. And it just makes me, I just can't get it done. And it drives me crazy when that happens. That's why I always need a picture. But she did fantastic. So, but she's got that eye for that kind of thing. So I just love that. I know, Patty. She says, that's me. I get frozen. I know. Me too, Debbie. I overthink it. What about this? What about that? Is that shade right? And she just used black, gold, and silver. Two different, I don't know. I think it's two different colors of silver. The Anne is a little bit darker than the Go Have. So, but it's just beautiful. So simple. And she knew we were coming to visit and we had just purchased this motorhome. So she just matched the color scheme in the motorhome. That's how easy it is. Just find something to match, right? You use tearaway stabilizer on your kitchen towels. That might be what it is, Lindy, because it looks very clean on the back. Very, very clean. Like all of it's gone, even inside the little A. Although I want to say I might have washed this one time and then pressed it. I may have washed it one time. I can't remember. Anyway, this was hanging there on the door in the little underneath the sink, and Keith reached for it to clean up a mess, and I went, bah! Oh my goodness. Okay, so I was looking at y'all's comments, and Billy Lou, I saw you said that the colors in Embrilliance don't match your embroidery machine. Very common. Don't even bother to worry about that. Everybody here had the right advice to just choose the colors that you want and just ignore everything that's on the screen. I rarely, if ever, do I use rarely, if ever, do I use those suggested colors that are because a lot of times I find too, the colors that I see on the screen in the embroidery software are different than the colors that they use like on the internet as an example. So the sample on the internet doesn't match what's on the design that the designer, that the digitizer used. I see that all the time. So I just choose the colors that I want, usually what's on the internet, and I try to match it as close as possible to what it is that I'm stitching. I just ignore all of the colors, unless I want to make something that is exactly like what is in the book that came with the machine, which is never, I never have done that. I don't even bother. So I saw a lady yesterday wandering around, and she had on, it was a flannel pullover shirt. I keep looking for the camera here and it's over here. But so she was wearing this flannel pullover, and right over the pocket it had an Eeyore, with some little flowers on it, Eeyore from Disney and Winnie the Pooh. And I was like, are you an embroiderer? Because I think I've seen that design in a Brother machine. And she said, what? I said, do you embroider? I was looking at your Eeyore. And she said, no, I used to years and years ago, but I don't anymore. So I didn't go into it any farther than that. And then her sister walked up to her And her sister had a sweatshirt that was all embroidered with flowers and little creatures, and it was really cute. So they both enjoy embroidery on their shirts. I did get some stitching done. Hold on, coffee. Okay, I did get some stitching done. I had told y'all that I brought the vintage Christmas with me. I've got links right below to download the schedule and do you can read everything about the stitch along with the Fat Quarter Shop if you want. And it's funny, they list a bunch of bloggers in there, I think. Did I see that we're doing it too? And I'm not one of them, but it doesn't matter. I'm doing it anyway. I'm just not one of their official ones. There's a couple of others that I'm doing with them that I'm listed on their blog, but not this one. Doesn't matter. So anyway, got the book and went through and did some of these. So I brought the 4 blocks with me. Have I heard any pros or cons on the Butler robotic system for the long arm? Jane, the Butler's a good system. I had one and I liked it. Okay, I really liked it. As a matter of fact, a lady was asking me last night about the Butler. She sent me an email and was asking me about the Butler. Was that you? And I sent her back some videos with some links. I'm sorry, I sent her an email with some links to videos of stuff, but I have a whole, I wouldn't call it a playlist, but you can go on my channel and hit the magnifying glass and just type in Butler and a good, I don't know, dozen videos will pop up. I like it a lot. It's much less expensive than the Pro Stitcher. It works fine. It's a third-party robotic system and it works fine. I didn't have, it was going on a couple of different machines at Quilt, at Road to California in the Sew Machines Plus booth, and it was working fine. The Butler reps were there to answer any questions and make stuff work, and it was great. So no, I highly encourage you, if you're going to get a Butler, get it from Sew Machines Plus. And the cool thing about getting anything from Sewing Machines Plus is that if anything goes wrong, let's say you live in the East Coast and they're on the West Coast, if you need any kind of tech assistance, they will Zoom call with you, do some kind of FaceTime or something like that. And then if that doesn't work, then they will pay to have a technician come to your house to fix anything. Now, this isn't just to help you get started, but this is for technical issues. And then they also, if in the end it needs to go back, they will pay for that. Since I'm traveling, when am I doing the sew along for Brightly Sampler? Good question, Elizabeth. Yeah, not today. The plan was to be home already, and we ended up not. So I will do it tomorrow. I'll have to do it tomorrow because I'm on the road all day today. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot all about it. I thought about it this weekend, but I forgot about it this morning. So Brightly Sampler Sew Along will be tomorrow after our live. I hope that's okay. Whatever block it is, I did a video on it already. So you can go back in the Brightly Sampler playlist and take a look at that if you want to go ahead and get it done. Do I know anything about fabric markers, which work well? You need to get quilt blocks signed by multiple people. Mary Jo, get those, they're tan colored. You buy them, there's fine line ones. You buy them at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So awesome, Amy. Finished all your Brightly Sampler blocks. That's cool. Yeah, what are those called? I forget what those are called. Micron markers. Thank you, Dot. Yeah, the Micron. Get those. And don't get the one, they've got all different tips. Make sure you're getting that fine tip. They've got one that looks like a brush. Don't get that. It's a big blobby mess. So yeah. Pigma works as well, but the microns are more readily available. So yeah, you're welcome, Peggy. Okay, so let me get to the blocks that I sewed. I just had them right here. Ah, here they are. Okay, so page 30 was the fresh cut tree block. So if you're doing this sew along, there's 4 blocks per month. And that's really manageable, right? It's like 1 a week. Okay, so this is the fresh cut tree block. I am so turned around on this camera. It's mirrored is what I'm looking at. That one was the simplest of all the ones that I did this weekend. So let me show y'all. I get that one out. Here we go. There's my little tree. Isn't that kind of cute? That one was the easiest. This one was really interesting. This is one that has a technique that I haven't used. Gosh, it's been years, if ever. But what you do is you take this piece right here and you make a mark on it 2 inches down. So you take this end piece, both of these end pieces, and you make a mark with a fabric marker 2 inches down. And I use my fine liner, okay, the friction fine liners. So you make a mark 2 inches down, and then you draw a line from the corner down to the 2-inch mark. That's your sew line. So that gives you enough, and then you put this green piece on at a 90 and then sew it, right? So that gives you enough to make it work. And then page yeah, so in the book they show it, it's got buttons all over it. I probably won't do that, but it's entirely possible I might take some metallic thread and do some little balls all over this, or maybe even some garland in the embroidery machine. So that's kind of cool. You can do all kinds of stuff with these. You can embellish these with your embroidery machine. Just put it in a, I would put a piece of, I don't know if I'd use tearaway, maybe a piece of tearaway behind it, right? And then you can pull that off when you're all done. That would be cool. Tearaway is going to give you the stability that you need if you're going to do any satin, like the balls, if you're going to do any satin finishes. So, okay, and let's see. Next that I did, let me get rid of, set that over there. Next one is the gingerbread, and that's for today. I held off. That's the hardest one of all of these. Let's see. This next one is the glimmer block. I did that. And here that is. Didn't that come out pretty? See, this is the one I told you they've got in the book. They have little reindeer on this blue, and they had little light bulbs. You don't have to do that. You can use what's in your stash, and it comes out just as cute. Very, very cute. Hey, Dee Dee, good morning. So you're not an embellishment with buttons and stuff. You rather learn to digitize the buttons. Yeah, Patty. And a really easy way to digitize a button or a ball is to use a period in a font and resize it. So that's a good little hack right there, to use the period in a font. So this is another one of those blocks where you've got to line up this blue from block side to side right there, like this. You got to line that up, otherwise it just glares at you that it's wrong. And I ended up, it's the same, what's the block we're doing in the Brightly sampler that's the same way. And I ended up using a pin on either side of the seam to hold that together to make sure that they stayed. There's a lady outside walking backwards. She's got all dressed in pink. She looks like Sunny Fox. Okay, and then the next block, easy peasy one, pretty easy, was the glisten block. This is on page 39, right? I can't see, y'all. I can't see a thing. Yes, 39. And here's the glisten block. So there that one is. That turned out just nice too. Awesome. I had one little seam that acted up on the back right there, and I did not take it apart. I don't need I don't need any kind of drama like that. So I just left it. You won't see it in the quilt. It won't be a big thing, but I think that turned out just beautiful. So these are all at 6.5 and they will finish at 6. Okay. So yeah, thank you. It turned out real nice. Nice little thing to keep you busy. We were working on this the other day on Friday. I was just starting this on Friday, if you remember. And that turned out just beautiful. Real pretty. Again, thank you, Bonnie. That's very nice. I appreciate your super sticker, darling. You're very thoughtful. Thank you. And you don't have to have that Christmas fabric. I just got in and got a light fabric. So here's the block in the book. And because I don't have, let me get over here. Because I don't have an original thought in my head, okay, I went ahead and just did my own there. See? Just like that. And it works fine. Yay. What book am I using for the sampler project? Kim, this is Vintage Christmas by Lori Holt. And I don't know how many blocks are in this thing. How many are in this thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 42. 42 blocks in this thing, plus the ribbons on the outside and your borders, and then all of the sashing and cornerstones in the middle of it. So, and then in addition to all, I've got a link below to the book and everything. In addition to all of these 42 blocks, y'all, there's 207 pages in this. So I'm going to work on the gingerbread house block today, but look at the gingerbread house quilt that you can make. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Okay, here are the dolly blocks all in a table runner. Look at that, when you multiple up on the blocks. There's a mitten mug rug right there with the cocoa. Isn't that cute? There's just so many projects in here. Look at these pillows. The reindeer. There's that glisten block made in the 12-inch and the tree block that I just made. So in this book, you've got blocks that finish at 6.5 and blocks, all of them. You can choose 6.5 or 12.5. And then they finish at 6 and 12. But you get the directions for both in here. So on this block that I finished, the glisten block, you're going to get 2 columns right here for the instructions that you're cutting. One column, 6-inch block, and the other column is the 12-inch block. It's awesome. So you can make tons of Christmas stuff. You can decorate your whole house with this one book. It's amazing. Tons and tons. This is one of those books that when you see it in the store and if you grab it on sale, you want to snag it, you come across it. So I was going to work on the gingerbread house today. Those 6-inch blocks, they're a challenge, y'all. So there are so many cute things. I know, Betsy. I know. There's so many cute things. So I was going to get started on that. And I've got my little blocks in this Yazzie bag. Somebody asked me, they're new to quilting, and they asked me, did I make this? No. There is a company called Yazzie. When am I doing the Christmas tree wall hanging? That's in July, Marilyn. That's going to be in July. Well, it's a quilt. Yeah, it's a quilt. You can do it as a wall hanging if you want. That Christmas tree sew along is going to be in July, and there are kits available for it. I've got links below to the Christmas tree quilt, and the kits are available if you want to get a kit. If you've got a Christmas, red, white, and green layer cake or 2, get that. Stash stuff. Yes. Let me make sure my iron is on here. Marilyn, I see you got your new Avenir. Congratulations. Good for you. That's awesome. I bet you're loving that. You have your fabric ready for the sew along. Good. Awesome, Pam. You're back from the coast. Good to see you, my friend. All right. Did I starch my fabric for the vintage quilt? No, you're so confused on starching. Audrey, so starching is really a personal preference. I know that Kim Jolly from the Fat Quarter Shop starches everything until it can stand up on its own. She has a bathtub dedicated just to starching. And she drapes it over big, these big fabric drying racks and sprays it down until it's sopping with Stay Flow or something like that, and then lets them dry. She likes her fabric like paper. Nothing wrong with that. That's fine. You're not going to get as much, fraying or anything like that. That's perfectly fine if you want to do that. I just don't, simply because it's time that I don't have and I don't care to do. I just use the sizing that came in the fabric from the manufacturer. Oh, I had a lady ask me yesterday, or was it day before, sent me an email, asked about when it doesn't matter whether she's doing a straight cut with a ruler or if she's using her Stripology ruler, she gets elbows when she cuts on a fold. And so let's talk about elbows, right? You'll see an elbow if you go to cut a strip and you open it up and it's got a little hump. Okay, if it's got a little hump there, it might have a little, like a hill almost, and those are called elbows in our world. And elbows come from the fabric being folded off grain. So I normally will say grain doesn't matter in a quilt. When you're just cutting up pieces for blocks like this, grain does not matter. The grain line generally doesn't, because it's not like a garment. It's not like a garment at all. So the garment has to drape over your body. You want to work with the grain line, okay, so that the garment, the fabric will drape over the body because the body is curved. These are designed to be stitched to be flat.
Oh, you say the nicest things. I'm curvy.
Oh, you're curvy. Hey, Ron, Bonnie, you need to tell Ron that whole I fixed the things that go up and down in the front of the bus was not true at all. The nightshade only goes 2/3 of the way down, and the sunshade doesn't go down at all. So I don't know what they were doing, but they didn't do it. Anyway, okay, so elbows. So generally, as I said, generally in a quilt, on quilt fabrics, when you've cut a strip and you're cutting little pieces out of that, the grain line doesn't really matter, because it's not going to go over any kind of curve, right? Unless you're gonna be doing curved seams, different story. But on squares, okay, when you're cutting squares and rectangles, it doesn't matter if the fabric is off grain. Now, when you cut on over a fold, if it's off grain on the fold, meaning when you put those selvage edges together, right? You've got this 42-inch piece and you fold it together, right? If you're doing 5 or 7 yards, if you're doing a whole bunch of yardage, it's hard, but you need to get it so that those selvages are level. And that might mean that where the bolt fold is off. So if you just use a regular off the bolt fold and your selvages are not even, the odds of you getting elbows are very high. It doesn't matter how straight you cut, okay? Because those selvages are your only true straight line. Elbows are like an unintentional notch. It's not a notch, Tina. You'll get a little curve. You'll just get a little snowdrift, if you will. When you open it up, you'll get a little snowdrift, okay? So, that's from the fold being off grain when you cut. It's not a huge, it's not like a point, but you'll see it. You'll get a little bit of a drift. And that's because the bolt fold is off. You'll really get it if you're cutting on the, you've got your 2 layers, you have your selvage in front of you and the bolt fold away from you. And then you fold that bolt fold down or up as the case may be. And now you're cutting 4 layers. And if it's not level, you're going to get all kinds of elbows. All right. So that's true. It doesn't always make the fabric straight, Betty Boop. I keep saying for the most part. Now, if you match your selvages and hang it up and look, if you match your selvages and you've got what I call drag lines, now you've got to get those drag lines out. And I had a video on how to do this with a backing on the long arm. And I talk about drag lines in there. You go ahead and put the backing selvage on that back take-up rail, and then you put the center on the front belly bar. And as you roll, you can see drag lines. That's because that fabric is off grain and your centers are not necessarily center. So it's really important. Don't just, and Betty Boop's right, don't just get the selvages even. Okay, you don't want just those even. Hold it up, and if you've got drag lines, you're going to get an elbow when you cut it. You've got to get that fabric so that it hangs straight. And that might mean on the edges, you might have up to that much off on one end. It just happens. And it's all about how it came. So do I tear the fabric? I've seen that done. Tearing, usually I let the quilt shop tear. Okay. I don't fiddle with that, you guys, because I would say 9 times out of 10, all of the fabric that I'm using, I'm not really going to be using up that little middle that's on that bolt fold. I'm not using that. Generally for me, that's scrap and I just get rid of it. I don't use that for the most part. If you have to use it, Charlene, the video is how to install a backing straight on your long arm. So yeah, tearing is good for backings. Betty Boop's right on that. Tearing is good for backings because you're using a big, long piece. But I have a video on that. And this all comes from dealing with grain. I just know about this from dealing with grain line for garment sewing. Okay, there's a reason that there's an arrow on those patterns. And that's so that you are lining up the pattern piece with the straight of grain. What are drag lines? Inquiring minds. Connie, drag lines in the garment world are when, well, in the quilting world, so you mark center on your backing for your quilt top or for the back of the quilt. You mark center, okay, and you put it in the center of the back pole that's going to take up your quilt as you quilt it on the take-up rail. And you mark center on the front selvage as well. You mark a little mark or a pin or a notch or whatever, and you mark it to center on the pole, and you pin it all out, or I use magnets, the sew tights. And then as you roll it, before you get going, as you roll it back and forth on the rails, you'll see ripples. Okay, you will see ripples in the fabric. Those are drag lines. That fabric is dragging differently than it should. Okay, that means that fabric is off grain. I'm sorry, my nose is itching now. That means that fabric is off grain. Okay, generally when you are cutting quilt pieces, being off grain doesn't matter because you're sewing a flat piece. Grain line doesn't matter for the most part. Gosh, this got crazy. Okay. But it matters on a backing. It really matters on a backing because you will get tucks in your fabric if that's off grain. And I have had usually most situations where I have to take that center on the belly bar closest to me. We go deep, I know, Patty. I take the notch on the belly bar closest to me, and you can shift it right or left, one way or the other, and that will take care of getting rid of those drag lines. They're just ripples in the fabric, okay? And once you get them straight, then you can roll, and when you get that straight, if you're a long armor and you've ever had the droop on one side, that's because your fabric was off grain when it got rolled onto the rails, okay? So I'm just saying, yeah, for borders too, because you're going to use usually that whole 42-inch on the border. You definitely want those straight. Yep. Okay, so Christine says she had a teacher at Quilt Festival. Make your fabric happy, iron it, and make sure everything is lined up right. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is making sure, believe me, you guys, when you get yardage home from the quilt store or you get it in the mail or whatever, okay, line up the edges the way it was cut and see if it's straight. This is the same thing when you get a panel and it's all wonky. It's the same idea. So anyway, didn't mean to go off on that, but that's how you don't get elbows. Do I have a fat quarter to demo? I don't have any fabric with me that's in, well, maybe I do. Yeah, there you go. What am I doing? I do have some fabric. I've got some fabric here. Let me see if this is yardage. This looks like a half yard. Okay, so here's my selvage edges. Okay, and see when it hangs, see how it's hanging straight? I mean, it's got folds in it, but it's not a big deal. It's hanging straight. So I won't get an elbow when I cut this. How you get an elbow, let me iron this. Ah, that's hot. Let me iron this out. Yeah, this can be important, especially if you're doing big borders. Yeah. I don't mean to tell you guys it's not important, because it is. But generally when you're quilt piecing, it doesn't matter because the pieces are so small. It's not that big of a deal. I should have ironed this at home. I'm just ironing on a little 12-inch thing here. This has got lots of creases in it. Let me move this out of the way here. All my little letters that I used up with the pins. Yeah, this can matter. Hold on, I'm just going to do a quick press here on this. I don't have any steam, so it's just heat. But you're welcome for the demo, Tina. So you're working with a woven fabric. This is totally different on different textiles, okay? Don't teach any bad habits. I know. We don't like bad habits. No. This is a woven, and when fabrics come out of the manufacturer, they may or may not be cut properly, cut straight. They may not fold straight. Okay, that's a thing. Oh my goodness. I wonder what this is for in the finishing kit, all this red. Oh, I think this is for the ribbons around the outside of the quilt. Pretty sure. I love it. It's a big recipe for gingerbread. Okay. So, oh, look at that. See how that was cut? Look how wonky that is. How about that? What a mess, huh? You know why it was cut? It had a crease in it. Yeah. Okay. So when I go to on the fold, okay, when I put my selvages together like this, they look pretty straight and even, okay? They look pretty straight and even on the fold. So that tells me that this fabric, if I cut it, I'm not going to get any elbows up here at the bolt fold, all right? If it looked like that, all right, hold on. See that? If it's off at the bottom, you're going to get an elbow when you cut it, okay? You need to make sure that these edges are straight. And sometimes, okay, so here the edges are straight on that cut edge and the bolt and the selvages are right. If I shift this a little bit, I'm going to show you guys drag lines. Hold on. Let me show you. It's right here. Here's a drag line right here. Right there. Oh, hold on. There it is right there. There's the drag. Because it's off over here on this end. And you will get an elbow. See that? You need to make sure that it hangs straight. Your selvages are hanging straight. That'll prevent you from getting elbows down on the fold when you cut it. Okay? Does that make sense, you guys? I hope that makes sense. Tina says, this is fascinating. Let me see. I've got a bunch of yardage. So when I started making the quilted snowman, I took all of that background, the hated background, directional background fabric. I took it all and got it all laid out and everything. And at the end that was folded up inside, it came in a kit from, where did I get it from? I can't remember. It was off by this much. Okay, so the whole thing had been folded incorrectly. And if I'd have it started about halfway through the yardage, because it was a good 5 yards, maybe 7 yards. When it started through the yardage, and then all of a sudden the selvages were this far apart, and then they were this far apart. And by the time I got down to the end, they were this far apart. And I was having to completely refold it and iron in a new bolt fold crease. Okay. So she's wandering around looking for more treats. I know Bernadette, she's terrible. She's bad. Obsessive. Okay. So here's a lot of yardage. Okay. And this looks pretty good. It all looks fine. My selvages are even. This is the background fabric. So this looks good off the bolt as is. I won't get any elbows because my selvages are even. Okay. I won't get any elbows. But if I was, and this is all pretty good, and usually, and it doesn't matter the manufacturer. I've had them come from Moda and be wrong. But if you get something that looks, yeah, the one on the quilted snowman, it looked like this by the time I got to the end of the thing. It was that far off. It was terrible. It was really bad. Okay. So that would give me, and if it's like this, it's even worse. That's terrible. So you need to straighten those selvage edges out and make sure that they're even, and make sure you don't have any drag lines so that it's nice and straight. And then you won't get elbows when you cut. Okay. Didn't mean to go there. But do I cut down long yardage so that it's easier to correct this? No, Yvette, don't. Always read your pattern first and make sure you might need, it might say length of fabric, right? So read your pattern. It might say length of fabric. You lay it out on a floor. Okay, just Frito. I'm not picking on her. I'm not picking on. That's the most spoiled dog. If you cut down your fabric, you might cut out something that you need. So I don't want you guys to do that. All that manufacturing is automated. Yes, it is. And so it doesn't, I mean, for the most part, they get it right. But y'all, I've had fabric from Moda be wrong, Riley Blake, Benertex, all of them. I've had them be wrong. So don't trust that just because it came from one of the high-end manufacturers that it's right. Sometimes it's not. So if there is no selvage, would tearing help eliminate the drag lines? Usually, Connie, if there's no selvage, the piece is small enough that you won't have any drag lines. And then again, you're making a flat square. You're making a flat block. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So you're late. What's a drag line? Margie, it's a ripple in the fold. So yes, Betsy, you're right. They all can have issues. Absolutely. So should I wash it if there are drag lines? So Debbie, there's only drag lines if it's, no, there's only drag lines if it's not hanging correctly. You can fix a drag line just by shifting the fabric just a little bit. Tina, I'm not that smart. I took a class. Somebody else taught me this. So I'm just sharing what I learned in a class. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to get some stitching done. All right, have a good day, Diana. So there, and an easy way to see that is, even if you're not a long armor, go take a look at my video. Just type in what's it, just in putting on a backing straight on a long arm. Just do that on YouTube and it'll come up. Okay. And then I give you a really good example. And then even though I'm installing it on the rails, the concept is the same, that if you shift it on the front rail, it's the same idea as shifting it on an ironing board. It's the exact same idea. Okay. So that if it's crooked here, I mean, you can see that. Okay. So I've got these selvages are not straight now. See how they're off? And you can see on the fold how it's not straight. There's drag lines right here. They're all over the place. You want that to hang straight. It's just about hanging your fabrics. And it's really easy. Let gravity be your friend. Okay. It's just a lot of times it's not cut straight. It doesn't go on the bolt straight. And when that happens, so you can really see it here. See that? The fabric's not straight. It's that simple. That's a drag line right there. All right. And the way to get it straight is just to even out the folded, the selvages so that they are level and hanging straight with one another. Okay. Okay. All right. Is your red is the backing? I've got a different backing for my quilted snowman. That's really cute, Midge. I love that. Gingerbread. I know that's really cute. Okay. No, I haven't gotten any sewing done at all. Keith's sitting here staring at me. He's waiting for me to finish so that Margie, you need to get lessons on your handy quilter and pro stitcher. Check out Quilting with Harriet. She's got lots of good videos. She's here. She's flying back today from New York. On YouTube, you can get rid of the drag line. Yeah, you can. You just need to shift the fabric, right, until the ripple disappears. It's that simple, correct? Yep. Well, sometimes, Patsy, I've figured out, she says, even experts in any field learned it from somebody else. A lot of stuff I've figured out on my own. Yeah, a lot of it I figured out on my own. I just remember my mother, you know, she would try to hem my cotton dresses, and if they hung funny, she'd get all crazy, and she would yeah, check her out, Quilting with Harriet. She's got lots, she's a former handy quilter educator, so she's got lots of good info on Pro Stitcher. So so do I. I've got a couple of videos on Pro Stitcher as well. And you know what? I did them for Sew Machines Plus, so they may not be on my channel. They might be on Sew Machines Plus channel. Well, I'm not going to finish the block and then leave, Elisa. No. She says I better get sewing if we're going to go home today. I'm just going to get started on it is all I was going to do. Well, I dropped my little pin thing here for my threads. I wish it was warm. It's been so cold and rainy here, you guys, that we really couldn't like sit outside and enjoy a day or anything. It was just really cold and rainy for sure. So I will show you guys when I get home, maybe tomorrow we can talk some more about that with big long yardage, and I'll show you guys what that looks like and how to fix it. So on the drag lines and stuff. You're still scared of it? You give it the side eye, Margie. Yeah, just, it's fine. Just poke around on it. Let's see here. Who makes that gingerbread fabric? So cute. That is Riley Blake that makes that. It's kind of hard to come across. So if you can find it, snag it for sure. All right, so I have all my pieces here in my easy stacks. I have one on top to keep them. What's the difference between rayon and poly threads for embroidery? Generally, poly is a little bit stronger than rayon, and rayon usually will have a higher sheen. I'm not a thread expert by any shape, not at all. So let's see here. I need to take, look at all the pieces. Look at all of the pieces in this block. So many. Ooh. I need an M on a B. Make one. Oh, it's for the chimney. Okay. Here's my B square. This is pretty simple. For those of you that aren't quilters, I have it marked. Here's my B. And I'm just going to press the little pin mark out of it. And then the M, you guys, the M is a 3/4 inch square. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Little bitty. And I've got 2 of them. So I just need one. Watch me drop it. I'm going to put this here. Pretty simple. Also, let me see. I don't need that thing set up now. You guys tired of snow and cold? Yeah. That's why I live in South Texas. All right. This thing is so small. I need to draw the line on it. I'm not on my single, on my straight stitch machine. Harriet, now see, Harriet said, sorry, wrong one. I give private lessons, fly me out. Yes, she does. Quilting with Harriet came to my house, and I put her up. She stayed here in this motorhome for 3 days, and it was worth it to teach me how to use that Pro Stitcher. Very much worth it. I wouldn't say I'm proficient, but it sure got me going. So let's see here. I got to make sure it's correct. and it goes in this bottom left corner. This is the same concept, y'all. The ruler was corner to corner, so the line is not. I'm going to sew on the line and cut off the piece that was hanging out from under the ruler. Same concept as on these bigger blocks. Okay. Oh, this is tiny. Oh my goodness. You guys watch Daytona yesterday? Literally like 7 laps left. And my internet went. So we caught it after the win. Finally got back online. All right. So maintain the integrity of the base shape. Can't see the white over that. And now I'll just fold this up to the corner. So that it is straight and press. This is my chimney. Sandy, you watched it. Hey, you guys, we've got 1 slot left for the RV Sew Together in El Campo. We had 1 person drop out because of a wedding. So we've got 1 spot left. If you guys want to go, I have a blog post about it. All right. I'm looking forward to going home. I know I missed 2 of the best racks. Of course I did. All right, so there's my block. That looks good. That's the way it goes, right? Always. I was so upset. Of course, there's tons of replays, but that's not the point. What happened was we have Starlink for the motorhome, and it was set on a 50 gig deal, and it hit the 50 gig at lap 9 and it cut off. I had to go onto my Starlink account and tell it to go over. It's fine. Ah! Of course. Story of my life. Okay. Now I need block A. Keith's outside getting everything ready to go. Maintain the integrity of the base shape. Well, good. I'm glad it goes through your head. It's a good saying for quilting. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here with this A block and the other M. You know, these things, it has a ton of pieces, y'all, and just 1 little block at a time. Just keep at it, 1 little block at a time. Next thing you know, you're done. So that's really good. I used my, I don't know what YouTube you mean, Maureen. I can't see it. I used my Southwest Airlines points to fly Harriet out to my house. Amy says, keeps me off the streets and out of trouble. Yep, absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys, our hour is up. I'm going to do this last little one. I hope you guys get some stitching done today. Okay. Need to get it taken care of. I can't see that on my iPad. It didn't show it to me. How to draw the line on where to stitch. Jan, I use the concept. I have a video below and it shows how to make perfect points. And that will tell you exactly how to draw the line and where to stitch. Okay. And the basic down and dirty of it is if you put the ruler corner to corner on a block and draw the line, the ruler's corner to corner. So the line is right next to that, and put a little mark on the outside. That's the piece that's going to be cut off. But take a look at that video. Go into the description box. It says more ... Tap that and open it up, and it'll say videos to watch next. And it's on there, and that is going to What's the pink circle on the bottom of my iron? It's a Tula Pink logo. This is a Tula Pink iron. I love this. I've gotten away from the Cricut irons because they have electrical faulty issues. No Brightly sampler today. No, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm on the road. No Brightly sampler today. So anyway, this has been a lot of fun. We got off talking about elbows and drag lines. So the idea is that you can create a corner and it looks exactly like the base shape is the exact same size. It's just two different fabrics. And how you do that is in that video that I've got linked below. So thank you guys for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. I will see you tomorrow back in my sewing room, all right? We'll talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Give a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye.